guys, like
Yeah, that's
North
it.
Smithfield owner was working on that truck, and it's parked in the back, but there's nothing.
You
back
good?
there. He
All right. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the North Smithfield Town Council. Madam Clerk, can you lead us in a prayer and a pledge? All right. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the North Smithfield Town Council. Madam. Just in case you didn't hear. Oh, okay.
Thank you very much. I thought it was God's.
Is it on? Oh, okay. Thank you for bringing us together today in a spirit of generosity. May we honor one another by keeping an open mind. May we voice our truth and listen with an open heart. May we discern your will to unite in fruitful outcome. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, North Smithfield owner rents.
Roll call.
That space now.
Mr. Biragad?
Here.
Ms. Hamilton?
Here.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Here.
Mr. Ogier?
Here. And let the record reflect that President Alves is out due to illness. All right, up next is presentation of citation, second place worldwide participation in Code Ninja, Connor Hunter.
So Connor, if you'd like to just stand up here, and we're very proud of you. It's a big deal to be second place in anything. Second place in North Smithfield would be a great honor, right? But second place in the world for your accomplishments. So we wanted to honor you. We know we saw a lovely article in the newspaper, and we got to give him something on our behalf. So I just want to read it to you really quickly, okay? It says, official citation, be it known to all that on behalf of the people of North Smithfield, the town council and town administrator hereby present to Connor Hunter for your accomplishment in achieving second place worldwide participation in Code Ninja. Now, Code Ninja, for those of you who don't know, is a pretty, you don't know? Okay, so you know what? I think I will let Mr. Hunter give us a little idea of what he did. So, if you would be kind enough to stand right here, follow me. Let's just, go ahead, you just tell me what you did for Code Ninja.
This is a microphone? Oh, it definitely is.
It definitely is, and there you are.
Code Ninja, I had a challenge to create a game using Microsoft MakeCode Arcade in 1 hour. I managed to make the entire game in 45 minutes and change around some assets and just make the game look better in the rest, in the 15 minutes remaining. And I won second place in the world by it.
Well, congratulations. Here's your citation, my friend. Here's your citation. No, you're good. You're good. Congratulations. He made a game. It was a game that he made. And people can play that game, and he did it in less than an hour, coded the whole thing, and came in second place.
Can I just say a few words? To
Please.
What he said? The competition, he belongs to the Shrewsbury branch of Code Ninja, which has 90 children. He easily won that competition. There are 400 branches throughout the world, throughout the United States, Canada, and Europe. And each of the 400 branches had a winner, and he was one of the 400.
Wow.
And they judged among those 400, and that's what he came in second.
Crazy.
Got a future Mark
Crazy
Zuckerberg on our hands
fantastic.
here. He's going to have his own jet airplane someday.
Well, we're very proud of you. Now, go back to work. Thank you, Connor. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Up next, we have a presentation to promote creation of local 250th committees. Deputy Secretary of State Rob Rock.
Good evening, Mr. Vice President, members of the council. My name is Rob Rock. I'm the Deputy Secretary of State for Secretary of State Greg Amore, and I'm here on behalf of the Secretary and the Rhode Island 250th Commission to talk a little bit about the important anniversary we have coming up in 2026, the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the founding of the country. Some may remember the bicentennial in 1975 that happened a while back, and we want to make this as special as that was back in 1975. So in 2021, the General Assembly created the Rhode Island 250th Commission, who's tasked with encouraging civic pride, economic development, and also the clearinghouse to all American Revolution-related activities. And again, with the intent of making 2026 really special. One of the other tasks that the Commission has been working on is working with local organizations to try to make 2026 really special. So one of the ideas was to go to all 39 cities and towns and ask if the cities and towns would be willing to, in some way, either create a local 250th committee or take a committee that's already in place and task that committee with making 2026 really special. So I think this is our 29th or 30th town that we visited, and all 29 before have agreed to, in some way, shape, or form, participate. And just as a couple of examples, the town of South Kingstown, who's also just finished celebrating their 300th birthday, created a committee for that. And so that same committee is also going to be tasked with the 250th events that are going to happen in 2026. The town of Charlestown, the local historical society, is taking the lead down there. And then in my home city of East Providence, they're creating a brand new committee right from scratch, where they're taking folks who want to be on it, and they're going to create their own committee. So I come before you to ask if the town would be willing to either create a committee or to task one that's already been formed, but also to let you know that we stand ready to help. Secretary Amore was a history teacher for over 30 years. He loves this stuff. And as the chair of the 250th Commission, we want to make this really special. So we have a 250th program coordinator. Her name is Lauren Fogarty. She's actually in West Warwick tonight making the same presentation. And she is a full-time employee who works solely with organizations on the 250th. So whatever the town needs, we're certainly willing to help as best we can. One quick example of how we can help. We travel around the state with what we call pop-up exhibits. Our office oversees the state archives, and we've got some really cool documents, including our copy of the Bill of Rights and all of that. But we take town documents and artifacts and we bring them to events and we talk about them and we set them up. And just as an example of what we can provide the town of North Smithfield, I've got a couple things that I'm going to leave with Tammy, and you can take a look at them. They're copies. A map of Slatersville from 1810. The act to incorporate the town of North Smithfield from 1871. Which is a pretty cool document to look at. And then also a picture of two individuals who are at the headstone of a very famous North Smithfield resident who I take it needs no introduction here, but was new to me. And I think it's Pelag Arnold. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but was one of Rhode Island's delegates to the Constitutional Convention, was from North Smithfield, also served as the Chief Justice of the Rhode Island Supreme Court. So we have documents and artifacts like this that we can bring around the state to events to help facilitate and supplement whatever goes on in the town. So whatever the town needs, we're certainly here and ready to help, and would respectfully ask that the town look at establishing their own committee or taking a committee that already exists and add this to it. And I'm certainly happy to answer any questions that the council has.
Does anybody have any questions?
Well, I can tell you right now, we have a great group in North Smithfield who's been doing a lot to preserve our history. And I'm sure Mr. Van House, Mother, and the group, Mr. King also, and I would be very interested. So we're going to be the best and the brightest, right, Van House?
Well, the town has our contact information, and so whatever the town needs, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we're happy to do whatever we can to help.
Very good.
Can I just ask? So would we get in touch with Lauren?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and I can provide that information to Tammy and all of that. So without a doubt, myself, the secretary, Lauren, we're all ready to help as best we can.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And then if I just may, I know I've been very fortunate enough to work in local government for many years, and mostly in elections, but I know oftentimes government employees, especially at the local level, go unnoticed and unacknowledged. And I just want to say that your town clerk's office that I've worked with for a number of years is top-notch with Tammy and Joanne and Tiffany. I also have worked with Mr. Igliozzi on a number of issues in the past. So I just, oftentimes, government officials go without any accolades, but I want to let you know that you've got a great team here in North Smithfield, and it's always great to work with them.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty, up next is open forum, non-agenda items only pursuant to 4246-6D, maximum of 15 minutes. Is there anybody? No. Does anybody wish to speak for open forum? Anybody wish to speak, open forum? That's one more time. Anybody wish to speak for open forum? Alrighty. All right, we're gonna move executive session to the end. So up next is old business, discussion by council vote or other action on status progress report, a specific item. First one's the facilities manager, there's no update to provide. 2, grants. So I know the administrator is out, it looks like, today. Tony, do you have anything on the grants or?
Not
Okay,
from
no.
what he provided. As far as I know, there's no updates, no changes, as far as what I was told.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just figured I'd ask.
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions or good?
Well, I think there's only one update, would be the municipal public safety grant. This is a stage 2. I think that's something that's probably a little bit new. It would be between $1 million and $5 million for a public safety building. So I think there was like a round 2 of that, and I think we are going to be applying for that round 2, so.
Cool. Alrighty. Up next is Hallowell Review Committee. Mr. Porter, there's an update, and then we'll get into the next one after.
I think these were in your packets, but I made copies just in the event.
Thanks.
Thank you.
TJ, do you have the PDF that I sent you a while back?
Believe it or not, yes. Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Can you make it bigger?
Perfect.
Mr. VP, I just wanted to mention, I didn't know if you saw in the packet, before you move on.
Yes.
I mentioned this to the finance director. There is something from Mark Carullo in the file.
You want me to go back to that?
Well, I just want the record to reflect there is an update dated December 27, 23. I don't know if anybody saw that before tonight, but it appears to be an update on grants.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to be aware of that.
Yeah, no, I read it.
Oh, okay.
I meant more along the lines of, was there anything else?
No-
That's
no
how I should have
worries.
phrased
I
the
just-
question, so. But yeah, there was a memo from the planner on an update, and I do appreciate that it was included in the packet, so.
Okay. My apologies for missing the last meeting. There were 3 inches of water and no power at my house during that lovely rainstorm, so I wasn't able to attend. So this was in your packet from the last meeting, and I had asked the Vice President to table the discussion. So you should have gotten the memo dated December 11th from our architects, BH+A, explaining in pretty good detail what we can get for $4 million. So before I really kind of dive into it, I guess my first question for the council would be, I had sent correspondence to the president and vice president to recommend that the councilors watch the YouTube video from our early December meeting. So that's going to kind of gauge how deep I go into this. So just going to put you guys on the spot. Did you guys have a chance to catch the meeting? I'm seeing 2 nods.
I did not.
Okay. So basically, the overall gist of this memo is explaining what can be done for $4 million. It's a 3,200 square foot building that we can get that would include a lobby a multi-purpose room, and restrooms. I was a little off when I had sent my email previously to you folks saying that you could get a 4,000 square foot building. BH+A ran the numbers saying that we could get a 3,200 square foot building with the associated site work that goes with that. So this is their first option right here. This is what it would get you. The second option is at 3,800 square feet. That brings you to 4.5 million. The next option over, 6,600 square feet option, brings you to 5.9 million. And ultimately, read it if you had gone through the memo, their recommendation is if we're going to spend any sort of money for a multi-generational center, that's it. That's where we need to be based on our population, what we can afford, and based on their, numerous years of experience doing community centers, multi-generational centers, senior centers. That is their ultimate recommendation. Again, this is done they have designed this in a modular approach. So what can be done here is, I know there's been discussion about gymnasiums, about a pool, about additional program space. This can be added on to very simply based on the modular approach that BH+A has taken with our master plan, putting this forward together. I also want to recognize that they have gone above and beyond what we've been asking them to do and have provided this for us without any additional contract negotiations. They've gone above and beyond, and really, this is great that they've done this for us. It goes to show how good of an architect firm they are. CJ, if you want to go to the next slide. So they did provide a very high-level conceptual site plan. So what would happen is, I'm going to just step away for a moment here, and I apologize for the folks watching from YouTube. But this orange portion here would be the footprint of the community center. It would be the largest one that's been put into our master plan, but you can start to see the further outlines that show the footprint expanding based on which option we decide to go with from there. Right now they have the community garden based off to the side, which is this tan box. That can very easily be relocated because that in the future could potentially be, thank you, that could potentially become the gymnasium at a further time. The other portions that are all optional right now are the multi-purpose field, the softball field, the dog park, and basically the northern portion that's up in this location, south of the pickleball courts, south of the basketball courts. This is the parking that's required for the community center, the multi-generational center. All of this additional parking would service the multi-purpose field, the softball field, the dog park, and whenever the gymnasium does get built, if that's decided upon in the future. That's the 10-minute spiel of where we are for our update and what $4 million can get us. We are looking to further, I'm going to give this back to you, CJ. We are working to finalize the master plan. BH+A has basically been spent the latter half of December and the beginnings of January to wrap up the master plan, and we would like the opportunity to have a joint meeting and present that to you. I know I've been in correspondence with the town clerk and trying to schedule this, so I'm also going to be putting you on the spot tonight and asking if we can get a date on the books, so then that way we can work with BH+A to make sure that they're here, and that way we can get everybody on the same page and be able to present that to you folks as the master plan. And then after that, there's going to be probably a few comments that I'm sure the public and the council will have that we'll want to incorporate into our master plan. BH+A will take that, make whatever revisions they do need to make, and then basically wrap it up by the end of February. So, before I put you guys on the spot for nailing down a meeting date, are there any questions that you guys have of what's been what was in your packet? now that, almost over a month now.
Jeff, just to put it in perspective, can you give us an idea of a building that exists that's 3,200? Is it like a big house, a small house? Give us an idea of what 3,200 square feet looks like.
Let's see. Well, my house on Countryway is 2,200 square feet, so it'd be a little bit bigger than that if you were to spread it out all on one floor. So probably, I'm going to guesstimate, because I don't know the exact dimensions of this room, probably 2 of these rooms.
Okay.
So not a lot.
Not huge.
Not huge. So that's about plus or minus this wing times 2.
Yeah, does everybody else
And
have any questions?
So so the 6,600 is really what they're recommending based on their expertise, and
Yes.
that would be what's on the memo says, including a larger office suite, 3 program rooms, 250 square foot conference room, a 500 square foot game room, and a 900 square foot dance studio. In this option, the lobby grows to become a cafe lounge space.
Correct.
So it's just, you're adding on, so does that include the commercial kitchen or no?
That does include the kitchen, yes.
Yep.
That would include
Yep.
it? Okay,
So
so the
if you look at-
32 goes up to the
So-
38 to the
Yep.
66.
So if
okay.
you look at the drawings that have
Yeah.
the 4, you'll see kind of how that lays out.
Yeah,
The kitchen acts as almost a central node so that they can service both the lobby lounge, or what they've highlighted as the cafe lounge,
Right.
and the multipurpose room.
And also to add to that, Mr. Porter, the big page that was provided, that has all the costs and the different page and the breakouts, like soft cost, hard cost. At the bottom of that, you'll notice too that they have, the font's tiny, but it talks about, what is added in
Oh,
each
yeah.
step. So they also not only break out the base of $4 million and then the additional overage if you decide to scale up, but they also then have like, okay, for 3,200 you get this, for 3,800 here's what's included. So it's just more of a,
Right. And that last column in blue that says the full 2-story community center, that's what's going to be based in our master plan is what we would term phase 1. And then, the additional items, the add gymnasium, add swimming pool, add athletic fields, that's all broken out. So, in what I think has been very easy to understand,
Yeah, they did a nice
tables and
job.
charts, which has been great. It helped our committee immensely on understanding where the dollars are going. We were very appreciative of the fact that they were able to break it down like this for us.
yeah, I just want to echo what Mr. Porter said earlier. Having attended the last few meetings as a liaison for the council, I've been really impressed with BHNA. They didn't have to break it out like this for us. It was Joel, is that his name?
Yep.
He had mentioned that, ever since that joint meeting we had in September, had been kind of sitting on the back of his brain, and he wanted to really kind of help us out in that sense. And so they took this on their own initiative, and I do want to compliment them for that. I think it's a very nice way, a nice layout to read it and understand it. So I just wanted to add that as well.
Yeah, no, it's tremendous. Just at a glance, you can see exactly. So just for those who are, for posterity's sake here, those
Yep.
who are listening, the only one of these recommended or these potential ones, so the one that's a 3,200 square foot, which is the smaller and most, most affordable for our $4 million, does not include the kitchen.
Correct.
The next one for 4.5, right? Is that what it is?
Yep.
The next one? Does include the kitchen and, okay,
Yep.
all right.
It's small incremental growth.
Yeah, right.
And they've made, along with some of the discussions that we've had, they made choices on which programmatic elements that they wanted to use. So, okay, the kitchen is obviously a big one. That helps out the multi-generational aspect when it's being used during the day. Can serve as Meals on Wheels. It really kind of becomes a help drive the reasoning to put something like this together.
Good.
I'm going to jump in this with both teams, but they're looking at Stowers Hall already. Have they come up because of the wetlands, what's feasibility, et cetera.
I'm not sure what
So,
the multi-advisory generational committee has come up with to date. I know that they were planning on asking the council to do a similar study that the Hallowell Review Committee has done for our property. But as far as that as far as where that request has landed,
I haven't.
So I think we talked about this at the last meeting or one of the meetings recently. And I don't want to speak for the multi-generational committee fully just because I didn't attend their last meeting. But I think the planner has started that process of studying the wetlands, and I believe they're going to hire, or have hired somebody to start studying that, and that would be step one. And then knowing the wetland setbacks and all that stuff, step two would be, where do we go from there? So
and I mean,
I think it's still early on in that
They can very
process.
easily take the cost per square foot work that we do for a building, apply that over there. You're likely going to get the same response that it's going to be 3,200 square foot building down at Pacheco, because there's also probably, more than likely going to be, $1 million and change in site work. Which,
I think I could add a little light, shed a little light on that, Claire. I think you're talking about is the plan to do that, to take a look at this, the work that they did over at Pacheco, was just in case, and it's a wise move, I think, just in case things don't work out over here, we can immediately pivot and go back to Pacheco. But the goal is Hallowell, and that's what everybody,
And if we expand at Chico, we're gonna take away playscape.
well, there's a lot of issues at stake, which is why we agreed to Hallowell. So the plan is Hallowell, the multi-generation, the multi-generational committee wants Hallowell, the seniors want Hallowell, but we're just doing that study in case we have to pivot for whatever reason. If it doesn't work out, we can go back to Pacheco. But the plan is still Hallowell.
And for the little extra, the second building would give us more bang for our buck
Yeah,
as far as using, right?
yeah.
yeah, and as I said, you'll see at our joint meeting that this, the 6,600 square foot building still in the future, whenever we decide, can be expanded upon. And that BH+A has really heard us saying that we're likely going to be doing this in phases, in increments, and they've really taken that to heart. So they have been really working with all the different pieces to make all of the research that the Hallowell Review Committee has put in through the surveys, through discussions, through meetings, everything that we've done to date, they've really been able to take and put together as a kit of parts, and has been able to really formulate plans like this to show, okay, here's the incremental growth that you can put towards this site and still maintain a really well-functioning multi-generational center.
Yep. Anybody have any other questions? Or?
No, but I know
Comments?
we did look at a January 25th meeting,
Yeah,
right?
that was the next agenda
That was-
item.
Yeah,
so
that was the next point of discussion as well.
So, wait, a point of order. So Jeff, you all set with this?
Unless there are any further questions,
Okay, does anybody have any other questions for
It was
Mr.
great,
Porter
but
on this?
Thank you so much.
I know
No,
we'll discuss this
for your
more.
work.
thank you
All right.
for entertaining this.
Prices for each building
Yes,
tells
yep,
us where we could get bigger bang for our buck or a building.
Yep.
at the same time also.
Okay.
And I'm behind door number 3.
So now we could talk about January 25th on
Yeah.
the
Perfect.
agenda.
So I did throw out January 25th as our joint meeting. It would be I believe, the last Thursday of January. If that was amenable for the council, I know I've run it by the Hallowell Review Committee, I've run it by BH+A. Everybody at that point seems available. So it would just be dependent on if all 5 of you folks are available, or if we need to adjust it to be February 1st, which would be the first Thursday of February, which would be a regularly scheduled Hallowell Review Committee meeting. And we could certainly host the council for that as well.
Well, we could include it in one of our regularly scheduled meetings, or we could have that 25th as our
When's school vacation week in
council.
February, do you know?
Well, probably not the second or third week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think maybe what we'll do is we'll have Joanne or Tammy, somebody send out an email just asking for availability. And then we can, I think we should have it that week, whether it's at our council meeting or it's the 25th.
Okay.
But the only thing I'm hesitant about is if we do a mixed joint meeting is if things start coming on the agenda, it could be rushed.
Yeah, things drag when we, the
So
meetings drag. as
I'm
they
almost
are.
leaning towards the 25th and keep it separate
Yeah,
like
I
we did
agree.
in September.
Yeah, I mean, even if we need to do an alternate Monday, if that works for the counselors, we can certainly look to do that as well. So it's not the, hold on, Matt, let me tell you. So it wouldn't be, the 15th would be your next meeting, correct? So if we needed,
Is it the 15th our next meeting? Because that's Martin Luther King, is that?
nope, sorry, 16th perhaps
Be
then?
Tuesday.
So it would be the 16th, right?
So then perhaps the 22nd, which would be another Monday night.
I'm,
Either one.
I'm fine with the 25th. So maybe Jeff, if you could email the clerk those dates,
Sure.
and then we'll just get consensus because I know the president's not here.
Yep.
And we'll look to have it by the end of January, though, I think, and it'll be on a separate night. That way, we don't have to worry
Yeah.
about the long agenda and stuff like
I would,
that.
and I think the BH+A would appreciate that. I certainly would appreciate that we just have it be the sole topic of
Yeah,
the
we don't want
agenda.
anybody in the public to feel like we're rushing through or
Right.
not listening, so.
Because I mean, Doug, you've seen all the information that's been thrown at us to date, so there's going to be a lot of information. We'll make sure that there's some draft copies for the the remaining counselors to see, to go through, be able to prepare any questions that you might have. So yeah, I'll email Joanne and hopefully we can get a
Yeah.
date
Yeah, it sounds like
solidified.
it sounds like the 25th may work, but just a
Okay.
couple extra days just in case, like
Yep.
there's a snowstorm or something like that as well.
Yeah,
We have some backup
and the other
days.
thing that I didn't check that I just realized is that the planning board is usually the second and fourth Thursdays, and we don't have the planning board has not gotten it. I mean, it's just the beginning of the week in the new year, so the agenda hasn't gone out for next week, but it might get pushed to that day too. So I'll copy Bobby and Mark as well to confirm that.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Then there's the only other outstanding question that the committee has had that I have received was if any of the counselors or the administration has heard of any updates on the demolition of the buildings. I know I've been down there October, November, and December, and there hasn't been any crew down there. So if there's been any updates or if there's anything that, the review committee can make recommendations to move that forward, to get that done, because, I've noticed that some of the areas are now accessible and could become a potential liability, so.
Hey, can we get that on the agenda?
Yeah, I was
for
gonna
next-
say, yeah, Tammy, can we add that to the next agenda? If we don't have an update by
We'll have
then.
Yeah,
Public Works Director?
just because, becoming a liability.
Yeah.
The desks are still in a pile by the gymnasium, so
Okay.
Yeah.
being the nosy guy that I am, I've driven down there a couple of times. and-
Doesn't it seem like a while ago that they came to us looking for more money? And
think
now
it
it's not-
was,
it's still
yeah.
not done?
I wanna say it was
I
like
thought it
fall,
was supposed to be
Supposed to
finished by
be
the end
of
of,
October, I thought.
yeah, November or something, yeah.
Especially because
Maybe the next meeting.
we're getting into winter and winter
Snow
conditions,
and-
so that might be another.
Yeah,
if
we'll look to
there-
get an answer by the
Yeah,
next meeting.
if there's been any delays on our part, then we might get hit with winter condition change order, because they obviously were planning to do it in fall, but
Right.
if there's been any more delays on our part, then we're going to be held responsible for it.
Yeah, we'll get an update.
All right, perfect.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks,
Thank you
Jeff.
so much. Happy New Year to all of you.
Happy
Thank
New
you,
Year.
and you and your family?
All right, the Human Resource Manager, I don't have any updates. Tony, do you, no? No updates? Okay. And then the Municipal Buildings Review Task Force, I'll turn it over to Ms. Hamilton, or do you want me? Do you?
So, yes, so we had a meeting on the 21st, and at that time, we were working with Tecton to go through a number of things, one of which was the existing roof on the larger part of the building. We had approved for that replacement, and then we got hit with the storm on that Monday. And lo and behold, the other roof that wasn't in really bad shape, or we didn't think it was, no one had put it on our radar. I'm sorry, I just realized I didn't have my mic on. I hope that's not a problem. So anyway, we did meet as a building committee. We gave approval for the roof. The storm came. We realized we had another leak, an active leak, as the chief called it. And we said, listen, we better look at that roof as well. And if we're going to make the envelope completely safe, we might as well go ahead with that. So we were just waiting for we approved it pending a proposal for the amount that was going to be needed for the additional roof work with 20-year roof warranty. And the total cost came in at $80,760. It was sent to us today by Chris Reynolds in the estimating department of Dubon Masonry. He is doing the larger portion of the existing roof and would be doing the entire roof if we approve the $80,000, and have him order the material at the same time and do the work as long as the weather holds out. So I'm looking for, I guess, approval of the $80,760 to Dubon Masonry and Construction for the John Mainsville 20-year roof on the police station.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And just under discussion, we did discuss this, just so the people listening, everyone listening at home. This was discussed that we were going forward with this quote at the last meeting as the council serving as the MBRTF, and it was decided that if they did have a quote by the time of this meeting, that we would look to vote on it. If they didn't, we would table it to the next discussion. So that's kind of where this came from under this agenda item. So just for the
Yeah, we
record.
don't want to delay it,
Right.
many more weeks.
Does any of this surprise you every time one thing's fixed for weather or something else? No. And I don't think it's gonna get better. One part gets fixed, and it throws the stress on another part, and that part goes down.
Yeah, it'll be the full roof
Yeah,
now
the full
complete.
roof will be done, and we'll keep the inside dry.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Sorry. Ms. Hamilton.
Yes,
Mrs. O'Hara. Mr. Ogier.
Yes. All right. Next up, under new business, I don't see Miss St. George. So we're going to move to item B, discussion, vote, or other action on North Smithfield Fire and Rescue Award of bid for emergency generators. Chief Chatier.
Good evening and Happy New Year. As all of you are aware, back in the late winter of '23, we submitted a grant through the Rhode Island Emergency Management Agency for a hazard mitigation grant for 2 new generators for our 2 fire stations. Those generators are something that I've put into our capital budget over the last 3 years. And thankfully enough, we received the grant. The grant is for a total of $121,571.10. We posted it publicly for bid at the beginning of December. We had 2 vendors bid the job. So I'm here tonight to request that United Electric be awarded the bid. They are the higher one, but the other bidder, Next Gen, had some exceptions within their bid that made them a little bit higher, I guess, or would have made them a little bit higher.
Thanks, Chief. Does anybody have any questions? Any comments?
So Chief, you're looking, so this says the United Electric in the amount of $110,782.
Correct.
This will be funded from the Fire Department's FY24 capital account, and of the total cost for the project, 90% will be reimbursed to the town.
Correct.
Okay.
The 121,571 includes a $5,000 bill that was paid for a load analysis that FEMA required us to do. That would go toward our 12,157 share. And it also includes a contingency that's built into the grant as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other questions or comments? All right. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve upon the recommendation of Fire Chief, United Electric be awarded the bid for 2 emergency generators, one for each of the town's fire stations, in the amount of $110,782.
That's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Barring none, roll call.
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes,
Mrs. O'Hara.
Yes.
Mr. Ogier.
Yes.
congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Nice way to start the new year.
It is. It's all one for the good guys.
Thank you.
Happy
Thanks,
New Year.
Chief.
Alrighty, item C, discussion by council vote or other action on North Smithfield Police Department request for award of bid for purchase of drone. Chief Lafferty.
Good evening. As you know, last budget cycle, I requested in the capital budget the monies for a police drone. RFP went out, and after the responses, a company called Cloud City Drones, who's highly recommended by Warwick and Cranston PDs, responded to the RFP. They were not the lowest bidder, however, they are a local state of Rhode Island business. It's a brick and mortar business, not an internet. We would receive free ground shipping, assistance in the training of the officers, as well as the actual putting together of the drone and assembly. So I'm requesting the award of the drone be granted to Cloud City Drones in the amount of $12,793.62, which is well under the amount requested by the capital.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Chief, they gotta be schooled, a couple of guys gotta be schooled on how to use that?
Yes, we're going to try to get FAA licenses for as many officers. We'll start with the supervisors, sergeants, and lieutenants, but we are putting a roadmap together for the training. There was training set up, but with the delay in the bid process, it'll probably be closer to the spring for the weather and the person that is coming out to instruct the officers. So,
Well, I'm glad to see that we're catching up with the times. I'll tell you a quick story. About 12 years ago, I was at a meeting at headquarters, and I suggested a drone, because I spent the night with 2 other guys looking for a guy in the woods that we ended up finding at 6 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, they all laughed at me. I said, a drone? What do you think this is? You know, Space 1999? They just couldn't get over the fact that, no, we need a drone. And I'm glad to see that now, 10 years later, that everybody's on board and has drones now.
yeah, and drones can be used not only in an emergency or tactical situation, but if we have, when we had the parade in town, if we have the festivities that were in back of the Beef Barn Industrial Drive, the artisan fair, we could put a drone up and then, strategically map out exits, entries, traffic patterns, and whatnot. Also, with all of the vast woodland areas in town, the Slaysville Reservoir, as you know, the swimming issues that we have there. It just has makes a lot of sense. And, we had a missing person last year, which was, ended up in a good outcome. And we had great responses from all our, friends and neighbors who offered drones. But it's nice to have our own, and to have our own people trained in it, again, for non-emergency as well as, emergency situations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, do you want to
I was
make,
gonna say, if there's no other comments or questions. Is there a motion?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of a drone for the North Smithfield Police Department from Cloud City Drones in the amount of $12,793.62.
Second that motion.
All right, any discussion? None? Roll call?
Mr. Reergon?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara? Mr. Ogier?
Yes. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Alrighty, up next, item D, discussion by council vote or other action on approval of grant writer and signature for contract. Mr. St. Ange.
Just looking for the council's approval to allow the administrator to sign for the contract with G&G.
This is the same
Same exact
contract
thing.
from last time.
Same exact thing, no changes. I didn't have any feedback from anybody as far as changes that needed to be made.
Does anybody have any questions for the finance director?
Nope. I'd like to make a motion to approve grant writing services for a 6-month contract for $19,950 to G&G Municipal Consulting and Grant Writing, and to give the town administrator the authority to sign the contract.
That's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any
Right.
dis-
Mr. President,
Yes.
just so you're aware, the contract has in its terms, there are two additional options. They have to be exercised, but you should be aware of that.
Right.
that the contract
Should I
contains.
read that
Yeah, I
into
would-
the
I would
motion?
I
redo
just
it.
wanted you to know that the contract
Yeah.
includes two options to
Right.
renew, so.
All right, well, I can,
I just wanted you to be aware, so.
Does
it's-
the
Oh, all
motion-
right, okay.
The motion doesn't need it, right?
No,
We'll just
okay.
let the record reflect.
All right, good, yep,
Okay.
straight on here.
All right. No further discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Biragad.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes,
Mrs. O'Hara? Mr. Ogier?
Yes. Alrighty, and then, I know we jumped over item A, but Tony, are you handling?
No, we're just gonna table it for next meeting.
Table it?
She was out
Okay.
sick today, so.
I just wanted to ask.
Yep.
Alright, so up next, item E, discussion by council vote or other action on penalties, tax adjustments. Mr. St. Ange.
So this is, I updated a couple more from last meeting, but, and I got rid of one of the columns as it added a lot of confusion. But, total is $100,376.61. There's, one additional sheet with one who's deceased. I did end up contacting MJ. I had forgotten, but we had previously talked about Pitco. I knew that there was a reason, but I couldn't remember. But we had contacted Municipal Collections Agency, and they had said that given the amount of litigation that's going on with them, they're very unlikely. We had already given it to them, and they said, we're not going to get anything. And the amount that we would probably get is around 12 to 20,000. And with lawyer fees, we doubt it's minimal at that point. So you might as well just write it off. So with their legal counsel, and then, they had forwarded that to us, I decided might as well just write it off instead of fighting them with it, given the whole debacle with that business as a whole. So that's why Pitco is there, and that's why some of the newer years for their business is here, and we're not chasing after them. Normally we do, but with this situation, it seemed as though it wasn't really worth it, worth the resources spending on it, because we might not even break even chasing them. So,
okay, well, may I interrupt you? We can't vote on this because there are no numbers on here at all.
the one that
No, there's nothing.
the one that Joanna had sent out just the other day
Yeah,
had,
no, so they are, the account number, the year, the owner, the explanation, but not a dollar amount.
the
in.
balance.
Yeah,
The-
it's cut off.
Yeah, it is cut off on the.
Did you guys get the
packet.
one that she sent out on the 29th?
The digital one, I think, has it,
Yeah,
but I think the paper one doesn't have it. I
Yeah.
think it got cut off when it was a PDF to print. It looks like it should be landscape, and it's not.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and it's just a lot.
So Tony, the $100,000 though, that's above what we anticipated for the year so
that's
far?
on par. We're halfway through the year. We budget about 200 grand. So our collections rate is, It's about just under like 700 grand that we budget for, but about 500 of that is for funds that, so when people pay their bills, they're not always going to pay within that fiscal year. So we say, okay, there's probably about 500 grand that's going to get paid next year in the accounting basis. So we say, all right, well, 500 grand, and we'll adjust for another 200 grand of these adjustments that we present to the council every so often, or the adjustments that Jen presents. So we're on par for how much we allot every year. We can slow it down. It's just what's going on right now is, like I said last time, is MJ is going through all our old records and cleaning out things that just aren't able to be retrieved. She's given a ton to MCA, and they send us back what they can and can't, and then we just go from there. But technically we're on pace, given the fact that we're halfway through the year.
Tony, can I ask you a question? And I know you weren't here, neither was I, so this goes way back. So in 2008, I understand now that they're not there anymore, and there's nothing you can do. But in 2008 and then 2009, why was this allowed to keep every year after year to continue like this? It doesn't make any sense.
What do they just stop when it comes to tangible?
Because they'd been there it was still there until, what, about 4 or 5 years ago?
Well, I mean, they're,
What do you hold when it comes to tangible?
Well, what do you do typically when someone's not paying their taxes?
Technically, you can open up a bit. Never mind. But you can't really hold much. When it comes to motor vehicle, you hold the registration. When it comes to
Right.
residential, you hold the house. When it comes to water, you shut their water off. Tangible, it's kind of,
Yeah.
that's why they can get, that's why almost all of the ones that the council sees when I present these is almost all tangible. There's nothing tangible to hold, because it's their assets.
So you're saying then that paying your tangible taxes is almost voluntary?
I think this conversation's heading down a path it probably shouldn't be. I do think
not what I wanna say,
that's,
but
but Tony, it is up to the tax assessor to go out and assess the tangible goods, right? I mean, it's
They
not.
can, they have the right to do so.
And they have a right
but they
to, so
don't.
it's
Right.
whether we enforced it or not, I think to the point you were
Yeah.
trying to make. We should have been enforcing it those years,
And those, yeah, in that regard, yeah. But
1 or
in
2
terms of,
years probably.
yeah, and now, I mean,
Yeah.
we can enforce it, but what do we, the assessor can go out there and be like, okay, well, this is all valued at this is all valued at that. And
There's
then what?
nothing there now. I was just telling Paulette, I picked up my car from North Smithfield Auto today, and they said, oh, it's in the parking lot at Pitco, because they rent that space now, because there's nothing there.
Oh, well, at least it's getting used. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, once the assessor goes out there and assesses the property there, or the assets, what do they do then? They're like, hey, come on, pay us, come on. Like, what, they can just say no.
I don't think it works like that fully, but we'll table that discussion for, I don't want to,
yeah, I think we
I
need
don't
to
think this
have,
conversation is,
have the
Probably
That's where it comes
appropriate.
down to. I mean, there's nothing for them to hold. That's why we
and
have
there
such
is
a
state
problem
law
with them.
changes as it relates
Yeah,
to
yeah.
tangibles and reimbursements to towns and communities,
Yeah.
so I think,
we have to
We'll-
get, we
we'll
have
keep
to
this
get back
moving,
on-
so,
yeah, back on track.
so maybe, Tony, what we'll do is we'll just table this and we can get the,
Again.
Yep.
we'll do it one last time, but maybe if we can just get it with the numbers on it, and then, maybe it might be helpful going forward too, if you just let us know how much we are up against the budget.
Yeah, I
From
mean,
time to time,
it's,
even if it's quarterly.
yeah, again, what we allot is 200 grand.
Yep.
Based off of the budget, and then what we look at for, prior year taxes. It's all based on the levy, so 2% of what the levy is, like I said, it's like 695,000 minus the 500 grand that we allot for prior year taxes. So we're left with, like I said, about 200 grand.
So if I may,
Yeah, that's fine.
Mr. President, I would like to ask you to have the tax assessor and collector here next time, so we can get from them their trials and tribulations, and the things that they do and the things that they can and cannot do, and then to
Yeah.
Mr. Biragard's point, maybe emphasizing being more proactive going forward.
A lot of years.
And not having to have a, you know, even if we are putting aside $200,000 for this year and an additional amount for prior year, that's still a lot of money.
It is, but I mean, in comparison to a lot of the other communities that I've overseen, 98% is on par. I mean, there's obviously room for improvement. I'm not going to disregard that, but 98% collection rate is still pretty good,
It is,
given.
yeah.
So yeah, I can request that they come here. Was that the 16th, right? That's
Well-
At the next meeting? Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
the next day is. the
I'll
next
have them
meeting.
come and
Day
they can
after.
talk all about it. MJ loves talking about this stuff. So
But she's been doing it for
Yeah.
a long time.
she's a pro.
really
She
good
knows what
at
she's
it.
doing. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. All right, so that's it for the agenda. Up next is open forum agenda items only pursuant to 42, 46, 6D, maximum of 15 minutes. Is there anybody that wishes to speak?
I have a quick question.
Just state your name for
Brian Van Howe, Woonsocket Hill Road. Why are we putting a 20-year roof on a police building that hopefully won't be there in 20 years? I mean, wouldn't it be more cost-effective to put a 10-year roof on? And still accomplish what they need and save us some money that maybe can be put towards the new or a better police station.
That's fine.
I don't know.
The option was either fix a bunch of holes
Yeah.
or put the roof. It's not, it's just that they guarantee the roof for 20 years. If there's no 10-year roof, there's no 5-year roof. They put
Well,
the,
I know in a single-family home, there's, 10-year shingles, 15-year, and.
right, no, they just fix it and they guarantee it for 20 years.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Mr. Porter? Good?
Hey, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
All right, well, since there's nobody else, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Oh, we need-
Oh,
no.
executive session, sorry. Looking at,
I would think that if it's, I called earlier, I think this has to do with the tax assessor. It's the only memo, but she's out sick, so
we'll table it.
we'll table it till
All
next
right, so
meeting.
we'll table it to the next meeting.
Oh, my God, what's going
So,
motion to
the
adjourn?
motion to adjourn?
on? Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Was that a second?
Yes.
Oh,
Huh?
okay. Is it,
Oh,
All in favor?
all right, so wait, so who made the motion?
I
Paulette,
did.
and then
Claire second.
Claire and John seconded, and then all in favor say
Aye.
aye. Aye. All right, we're adjourned at 7:42.